Greetings. I had the word wonderful in my mind. So it's wonderful to see you all today. Greetings to the webinar number 7. We're going to get started, or we are started, but we're going to share screen. All right, here we go. So welcome to Winter Wellness Secrets, the weekly webinar series. I'm Dr. Lisa Singletary, and I will tell you a little more about myself in just a moment. I think there's one thing I need to do. Let's see if I'll spotlight myself. And we're off to the races. Here we go. Just one check. Tony, give me a thumbs up. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. All right. Well, today is webinar number 7, and we're talking about measurements. As you know, we rotate through the 5 M's of total transformation every month. And we're on measurement today, part 1, which is 3 low-tech secrets to tracking your wellness journey. We're going to make them high-tech. We're going to do high-tech secrets in February. But today we're going to talk about secret number 1, what to measure. Secret number 2, when and how often to measure. And secret number 3, the major impact of small wins. And there's a bonus. There are a couple of bonus secrets, but bonus secret number, I'll just call it bonus secret number 1, is how to harness the power of true nutrition. So winter wellness secrets. Why do we need winter wellness secrets? What are the special challenges of winter? Well, shorter days. Now, it's after the winter solstice, so we're in January, and the days are getting long. Can you tell the days we're getting more daylight every day? In fact, right now in January, we are getting about a minute extra daylight every day. And in February, it'll be 2 minutes, and then more and more and more. But I'm so excited by the daylight. I'm just going to stop sharing just for a second and reshare. Here we go. So, yeah, we still have some cold left, but it's kind of getting warmer now, bit by bit. I mean, it was 7 degrees the last little video I made, but yeah, New Year's resolutions, sometimes they can cause mental issues with us if we don't make the right resolutions, and a lot of times we've blown it by now. So we don't want to set ourselves up for failure. Inactivity during the cold. You might as well call me a bear. I love to hibernate. And here's one of the bonus secrets, and that is this. In the winter, we don't have the same cues to stay hydrated. We don't sweat as much, and we're not out in the warm sun as much. And so we don't think about hydration as much, but it's just as important or more important to hydrate in the wintertime. It's a crucial component of the health of your skin, your circulation, and thereby the whole rest of your body. So focus on hydration during the winter. So on this journey to optimal wellness, I'm honored to be your guide. I'm Dr. Lisa Singletary. I'm also known as the 100-pound weight loss specialist, as someone who's lost actually over 150 pounds. uh, I love to share the knowledge that I've gained as a medical doctor and as a holistic health coach. And I'm all about empowering transformation from the inside out. So I'm so glad you're here. We're on this journey to optimal wellness together. A little bit about my past. In the year 2006, I was a very heavy girl. However, I had the gift of mobility, and I still have my Arthur Murray uh, dance trophies. You know, they give trophies to everybody, but um, I'm so thankful for the time that I was able to move like this. And 2008 is when I decided to leave my practice and go home and take care of my parents. And uh, at that time, I was probably my maximum weight. Now, this young lady who's in my lap uh, visited me at church. And 8 years later, the same young lady came to visit my home. And this was after my parents transitioned. And what you might notice is that um, that we are sitting in a wheelchair. I needed my father's wheelchair just to get around the house. And at that time, let me tell you, I needed a miracle. Okay, so I'm in health and wellness. We don't talk about miracles, right? And so this is a good time. This is a reminder for me to give you a disclaimer. I'm not giving any medical advice. I'm not giving any uh, health. Well, I'm giving health advice. I can't hide that. But I'm not saying that anything that I say today is a miracle for you. I'm just so let's see. What's a good disclaimer? No health advice, no diagnosis, no prevention, cure, uh, treatment, none of that. I'm just telling you, I needed a miracle. And something happened because that was an answer to prayer. I don't know if you can see the trajectory of my life. I've been on a diet since I was 6, basically. And it just, my weight just went up and up and up and yo-yo dieting. I, you could see there was a dip when I took a weight loss drug. And then as soon as I stopped the drug, I was back on the trajectory. But something happened at B and it changed the trajectory of my life. And it's changed. That was in 2015, so that's 10 years. I can't believe it. But this weight is still coming off, and I'm so thankful. So I'm going to share today a little bit about what helped me to get from the picture on the left to the picture on the right. And like I said, I'm still on the journey, and I'm so glad we're on the journey together. And let's start our engines. We're going to talk about secret number 1, and that is what to measure when we're on this journey of it. For me, it started as a weight loss journey, but it's really been a journey of total transformation. And like I said, today we're focusing on low tech uh, things to measure, to keep track of. So we are never going to not use the scale, I would predict. I think we're always going to have the scales in our measurement toolkit, but there are other things that we can measure too. And I just love this picture. Thank you. Who made this picture for me? One of my AI people, Bing, I think it was Bing. I think ChatGTP gave me the prompt, Bing gave me the actual image with a little tweaking. Okay, but we can use the measuring tape. Now she obviously is not measuring her waist circumference, but the measuring tapes are important. We can keep track of what we eat. Food diaries are important. We can keep track of components of what we eat. Um, but there are many things that we can measure, including check out her jeans, including how our clothes fit, how, and look at her smile, how she feels. She probably didn't feel that way a few pounds ago. So there are a lot of things that we can measure on our journey. So the scales, yes, but there are other things too. Secret number 2, when and how often to measure. And I don't think this will surprise you, but I can tell you one word that is going to make all of the difference in your measurement along the journey, and that is consistency. So, some of the measurements, and uh, like I said, there are many low tech ways and low tech things to measure. There are high tech ways we'll talk about next month. But consistency is important in when you measure. So for the scales for measuring your weight, um, I usually recommend, and the science usually recommends measuring first thing in the morning, uh, before you've eaten anything, and probably after you've urinated, after you've evacuated your, your overnight toxins, and do it then. So I call that the dry weight. Now, we don't want to be dry as far as dehydration, but that does give us an idea, if we do it consistently, of what our weight trend is. The other thing, as far as consistency, is you want to be consistent about where you measure and writing those measurements down, as well as, um, you know, realizing that as your body changes, the way you measure might change a little bit. For instance, we measure waist circumference at the belly button, quote unquote, but the belly button location changes with, depending on your body, um, on your morphology, your body status. So that, we have to be careful as far as, if we have to make adjustments, make the adjustments consistently. But consistency is a key. So when you measure, now how often should you measure? As far as weight, um, you know, you're not stuck at one thing. Some people say, some people have to measure daily. Some people say that's too often. You should measure once a week at the most. Um, for me, I go into I have seasons. There are seasons, 2, 3 weeks at a time when I might measure daily, and um, usually there's something I'm trying to figure out. Like uh, there's some kind of um, I don't know, change in my body. Like I could feel there's inflammation maybe in my body that's not there usually. And for me, I can see the inflammation on the scale. I can feel it in my joints, but I can see it as well. So tracking the weight may be more frequent at times, but it doesn't have to be. So that you can choose with your personality, with your goals. But once you decide on the frequency, how often are you going to weigh yourself? Be consistent and document. Um, it just so happened that that chart that I made over the years, I could remember what my weight was at certain times in my life. I can remember my medical school physical, right? I can remember my residency physical and things like that. But you want, so I remembered, I didn't document at the time, um, but I'm glad I could remember those things. And I was really surprised when I saw the numbers right in front of me. So keeping track and without judgment, right? There are times you just don't want to know how much you gained during that last meal or whatever. But number one, that tells you where you are. So it's part of the roadmap on our journey, but also it's part of the story. So you can say, I did this, I was this, but then I turned it around. So don't beat yourself up at the numbers. It's not just about the numbers, it's about the journey. All right, secret number 3. This may be my favorite secret of all, impact of small wins. So when we are heading towards our health journey, what can we measure? Well, we can measure things like arm circumference. We talked about waist circumference. Um, but again, measure consistently. Uh, but then what can we celebrate on the way? You might notice that in your workout, you can do a few more reps as you become more consistent in your workout. That's a win, even if you don't see movement on the scale, or even if you don't um, see the numbers coming down quite yet in your uh, body circumferences. If you start feeling better, that's a win, right? You wake up with a little more pep in your step. And sometimes you might not even realize why. Like, this happens to me. And this is another reason it's important to document. You forget how bad you felt, right? You just like it's normal. But sometimes I wake up and think, you know what? That didn't hurt. Or, oh, I started moving fast and whatnot. Welcome to my life. Joint pain, especially your weight bearing joints, you might start feeling a little better. You're sleeping better. You're in a better mood. All of these things are small wins on the way on the journey. Energy, uh, your seatbelt, right? The fit of your pants. So many things we can just make note of. So we talked about awareness when we talked about our inner saboteurs and emotional eating, this self sabotage and diet sabotage. Awareness is important also in recognizing the small wins along the way. And as far as the research, that 5% number is very important because, you might have an overall idea of your weight target and it might be a long way away, right? It might seem like a long climb up those stairs. But if your first target is just 5% of your weight, that can make a huge difference. So if if you're 200 pounds, that's 10 pounds, right? Just losing 5%. Or if you're 300 pounds, that's 15 pounds. Just losing 5% of your weight. What can that mean in your health? Well, according to the research, it can help your cardiovascular system, your blood work, as well as your risk of cardiovascular disease. It can help your metabolic function. What does that mean? Uh, we have epidemic of diabetes and prediabetes. And 80% of people that have prediabetes don't even know they're at risk for metabolic syndrome, for insulin resistance. But just a 5% weight loss can lead to dramatic, significant increases in your insulin sensitivity, which helps your metabolic function. Your body composition. You start moving the numbers as far as when you measure the numbers of your fat percentage with just a 5% weight loss. Cholesterol and overall quality of life. So let your targets be, even if you have that big goal in mind, try using the 5% rule for making some of your weight, some of your target. All right, so here's a bonus secret. You can blast cravings with nutritional completeness. And that, I didn't talk about this today, but if you've been to the previous webinars, I told you that focusing on learning how and then focusing on getting nutritional completeness to my body cells and to the cells in my gut microbiome broke that cycle of being on the diet since I was 6. That drop, that dramatic drop where I lost 85 pounds in 8 months and got out of that wheelchair. Nutrition nutrition and hydration and thereby detoxification, those 3 are what made that dramatic difference in my weight trajectory. So what are the 5 steps? Number 1, avoid the bad foods. What do we call bad foods? Gluten, ultra processed foods, oils, fried food. What all of these have in common are that they raise inflammation in the gut and in the body. That's why we call them bad, not because they acted out or something. But they really do have an adverse effect on the body, no matter who's eating them. Now, some people, let's just take gluten. Some people are more intolerant to gluten than others. In fact, people that have an extreme gluten intolerance have something called celiac disease. However, genetically, none of us, no human being has all of the enzymes that we need to break down gluten. So I would challenge you, even if you think, I can handle gluten, I challenge you, go 1 week without gluten. Just 1 week and notice, right? Be aware, be mindful of the difference that 1 week without gluten made. And I'll tell you, this is the best time ever in life to be gluten-free. There's so many alternatives. But if you just stick to the 2 P's, protein and produce, you'll go a long way to giving your body or avoiding the problems that are caused by the bad foods. Now, we do want to focus on organic. Is it worth the money? Yes, because we don't want the pesticides in our system. But we just protein and produce. Think about that, protein and produce. And then, what diet should you eat? It really doesn't matter that much. You have a lot of leeway in choosing diets that will work for you. It could be vegetarian, vegan, lacto-ovarian, carnivore, paleo, keto, low carb, the Zone diet, the Atkins diet, the Dash diet, the South Beach diet, the T-Zone diet. I remember that. I like that one. Uh, actually met Dr. Atkins and Dr. Sears. It was great. Um, he challenged me, and he was right. Anyway, that's another story. Doesn't matter what diet you want to eat. Avoid the bad foods. That is more important than what you eat. Okay. Step 2, there are 90 essential nutrients that your body needs every day. And the word essential means you need it, right? That's what we think. But the word essential medically has a different meaning. It means the body cannot make them on its own. So you have to onboard these nutrients somehow. A lot of them used to be in the food, but as the soil becomes depleted, the food becomes depleted, we can't. And and also the minerals that we need are not uniformly distributed in the crust of the earth. So even if you're eating organic, farm to table, the best um, circumstances, if the minerals that we need are not in the soil, they're not going to be in the food. And if they're not in the food, they're not getting in us. So um, we have to supplement in order to get all 90 essential nutrients. Step 3, oxidative stress and chronic inflammation wreak havoc in the body. Other kinds of stress wreak havoc in the body. And so we give the body extra, because the body makes antioxidants, but the antioxidants that the body makes are just enough to handle a, what can I say, a lifestyle that was more simple, more natural. Now, with the processed foods, electromagnetic overwhelm, mental stress, pollution, all of these things that the body is exposed to, uh, they cause and bad habits such as smoking. Um, you'd be shocked at how many free radical electrons, how much oxidative stress uh, some of these things cause. Maybe we'll do a show. Maybe we'll do a week on that. But we give the body extra antioxidants and adaptogens and natural anti-inflammatories. Step 4, digestive health. You've heard it said, you are what you eat. Not true. You are what you absorb. And if you're eating those inflammatory foods, and if you don't have all the nutrients, your gut lining will not function properly. And your gut lining has 2 jobs. It has to absorb the good stuff, and it has to keep the bad stuff out, the gut bacteria and the uh, other things. So we need a healthy, functioning gut lining as well as all of the organs of the gut. We need our gut microbiome to be balanced. We want the um, lean, friendly bacteria more so than we want the what we call obesogenic bacteria in our gut microbiome. That I call it the microbiome wars. We want to give the good microbiome uh, components as much fuel and as much balance as we can. Okay. Step 5, wellness wonderland. If you want to do your brain support, your joint support, your sleep support, your favorite vitamin, your favorite mineral, your favorite complex, fine, do it all. But only after you have the foundation of avoiding the bad foods, 90 essential nutrients, and the other steps are you going to get the maximum benefit out of any of the wellness wonderland strategies you choose. Okay, so I have to tell you about this new supplement formula that it's based on something called time duration nutrition. What does that mean? You know, there's some supplements that you take that give you more energy. That's great for taking in the morning, not so great right before bed. There's some supplements that you take that calm your body down and get you ready for sleep. Not the thing you want to necessarily take in the morning. So, what this particular system does is it breaks out the morning formula, which is called Rise, and the afternoon or evening formula, which is called Restore, and it gives you the right nutrition, the right supplements, in the right dose at the right time of day. So, and I talk about this later, um, and I'd love to share information about this with you. But uh, and I'll show you how you can find out more. But this is a game changer. This is truly the future of supplementation. All right, so let me remind you of the 5 M's of total transformation: mindset, macronutrients, micronutrients, motion. We talked about last week with Coach Judy. Wasn't she fantastic? She was fabulous. And measurement, which we're talking about today. These, with these 5 M's, no matter what your health goals are, you will be able to achieve them. So if you're a performance athlete, you need these 5 things, right? If weight loss is your goal, these 5 things will help you. If you want to live longer, these 5 things will help you. Now, most people say, most people start their whole programs with mindset. And I did too when I made this wheel. But when I thought about it, what broke the cycle for me started with the micronutrients. And that's why that was my first M that I focused on in the Winter Wellness webinar series. That was webinar 2. So we with today, with measurement, we've done all 5 M's for the first cycle. And so we're going to start with mindset again for the next cycle. And here we have the schedule. So today, it's January 25th. We're tracking low tech measurements. We're going back to mindset. Then February 8th, we're going to macros and micros together. So complete nutritional picture. February 15th, motion. We're going to talk about the heart. Oh, I love that. We might have a special guest on for there. And then February 22nd, we're going to talk about high-tech ways of tracking your health journey. Surveys and quizzes and scans. Oh my. So winter can be a great time for your health journey. We just have to focus on the right habits, the right nutrients, the right activities, and we can stay vibrant and healthy no matter how chilly it gets outside. So I have a bonus for you for joining me live or for checking out the replay. And my winter bonus, if you just scan this QR code, you can register to get the holiday feast guide. I've changed it up a little bit. So now I have the replays of webinars 1 through 6 right in that bonus. Of course, the link for the series, the link to the health survey, and here's where you can get more information about the Complete Nutrition 3.0, and there's more. So thank you for joining us today on Winter Wellness Secrets webinar 7. I'm so glad you're with us, and I love you. Mwah. Now, those of you who are here live, stick around because I got a special um, request for you. Okay. Oh, there it is. Got to figure out how to pause the recording. Alrighty. So, how many of you remember the webinar 3, Carbs Decoded? And when I started this series, I told you I was going to be putting together a toolkit. So, this is what I'm thinking about for the Carbs Decoded toolkit. I have certainly the replay, right? And that's already in the winter bonus. That's already in the free bonus. But I'm thinking about putting in the slides, and I loved my slides for the Carbs Decoded. Remember the Legos? Oh my goodness. Uh, but some things that'll help, I think that will help you with uh, focusing on your carbs and getting them dialed in. And one of the things I thought about including was a glycemic index chart. So you can see which foods are shown to hit your bloodstream faster and cause that spike in your blood sugar and then that drop, as opposed to which carbs or which foods have carbs in them that are just smooth and they keep you within they keep your blood sugar within that normal range that we want without spiking up and without dropping down. I thought maybe a food diary or a meal planner might help. And some low carb, gluten free recipes. You know, it's not enough to say low carb because they'll put gluten in those things in a second. I'm shocked. I'm shocked at how many low carb foods are so filled with gluten. And it's not enough to say gluten free because there's no gluten in sugar. So they will, instead of putting the gluten in, they will pack it with carbs. So you have to have both. And more. I've got other ideas, but I want to know your requests. So those of you who are here live, you get a chance to help to create my carbs decoded toolkit. So do you have, if you got some ideas right now of things that I could put in to this toolkit, I would love for you to share. All right. Did I turn on can you make comments? Hopefully I've got that turned on. So welcome everyone. Feel free to unmute yourselves or feel free to, I'm looking at who's here. Thank you, Joanne, for coming. Sherilyn, oh, so awesome to see you. Willard, my husband, come on. What happened? Did you kick me to the curb? Welcome, everybody. I think you can feel free to unmute. Let me make sure. Here we go. All right, now I think you can unmute yourselves. So any idea, I mean, who did I miss anyone? Who did I miss? There we go. Now I can see you all. Hey, it's January 25th. Can you believe there's a month gone in this year already? Warp speed. So we did hit the ground running. The webinar in, was it November? Definitely December. So we're coming into our stride. We're coming into our paces. So any questions or comments, anybody? Oh, thank you, Karen, for the comment. Thanks for the info. Very informative. Now, you, young lady, I know, are very health and wellness. Well, everyone on the call is, but I was surprised when I found out how health conscious Karen is. And I really appreciate you saying that this was informative for you. Sherilyn, team transformation. What is it? The three team total transformation team. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So glad to see you here. All right. It says we can't unmute. All right. I did hit the y'all can unmute button, but I'm gonna do it again. Allow participants to unmute themselves. Here we go. Ask all to unmute. There. The shackles are off. So unmute at will. Thanks, Karen. I'll see you a little later. I can't wait.
Hello, Dr. Lisa.
Willard.
Yes. How are you? Happy New Year. Thank you for the call.
Thank you. What's the temperature there? I was complaining last week when it was 7 degrees.
32. It's 32 now.
Ooh.
It's okay now.
Heat wave. See?
Yeah,
Spring is coming.
Right. Yes. I appreciate this call though, Dr. Lisa.
Thank you. I know we used to be on calls every week.
Every morning.
2, 3 times a week. 5 times a week. So
you're looking good, Dr. Lisa.
thank you. You too. Don't good, thank you. It's been
You're
beautiful.
welcome.
And Joanne, you
Thank
had
you,
an
thank you.
you had an amazing presentation Thursday night, and you got an amazing adventure coming up with your trip. Thank you, thank you, thank
Yes.
you. And some of you met Alice before. Alice was my what do you call it? Not my nanny.
Nanny.
When I was 6 years old, Alice was my nanny, and I'm so thankful that we're still connected. So,
I am as well.
okie dokie. All right. So, what do you think about the toolkit? You think that's something that'll be helpful in your journey?
Yes.
Got a thumbs up from Joanne. Thank you. All righty. Well, I have started, gathering the pieces, and I'm gonna put it together, and I'm gonna make a little offer. So if you have any ideas, and I didn't give you a lot of time to think about it, but if you have more ideas for the toolkit, just message me, text me, email, smoke signals, carrier pigeon. I'll get the message, and I would love to have your input on that. All righty. Well, we've got a big day ahead. What time is it? 11:46. Okay. That was good timing, I think. So we got a lot done. Got to talk about you. Can I talk about oats? Pros and cons. Girl, I can. The reason I hesitate like that is because I've made a couple of videos about it. But I'll tell you the huge pros of oats is they have a soluble fiber, and they're very, very good for that fiber. The gut microbiome likes the fiber. The cons of oats are they have something that's a cousin of gluten. Okay. And in this video, I talk about the whole genetics of the trichotates and basically it's proline. Proline, I think that's the problem. I have to go back to, I went through all the biochemistry of it, but there's a cousin in gluten called avenine. Now, the reason I recognize or I remembered that word avenine is because Aveeno is a lotion that has what in it? Oatmeal, right? And Aveeno, that's from the scientific name for oats. And the protein that's similar to gluten is called avenine. And different people have different sensitivities to adenine. And I used to think that I could eat oats. I used to think, for my body, they're good. Now they do make me regular, right? But I have noticed since I was and oats, when I was purging gluten from my system, from my kitchen, oats were the last to go. Right.
Mm.
I just loved oatmeal. And I would make, the oat muffins and all the things. But when I decided, you know what, I kind of like oats. I want to go back to the oats. Well, they did have the effect of making me regular, but I was bloated when I took them. I was like, wait a minute, what is this? And the gut microbiome was like, you know better. You've been oat free, you've been gluten free, you know better than to try to bring these oats back. So um, the oats have a lower impact than um, wheat gluten. The adenine has a lower impact than the gluten, but gluten, gliadin, adenine, they're all the protein aspect of the wheat grasses that we cannot handle. And we pay a price one way or another, even if we don't realize that we're paying a price. Our bodies do pay it. Thank you for that question, Sherilyn. That's an excellent, excellent question. And I will hunt down that video um, and refresh myself on the biochemistry of it, because you hear so many things. You hear gluten-free oats. Well, technically, yeah, they are gluten-free because adenine is a cousin of gluten. So, technically you can say that, but in practicality, in the body, that the oats, uh, they don't live up to the panacea food that we like to think. Excellent. Alrighty. So let's see, what should I do with that video? I'll put it in the, you still can't unmute. Well, okay, let me ask you directly. Try it.
There we go. Yes.
Yay.
Yay. Thank you. That's great. No,
I,
that was beautiful
oh,
answer. That was helpful.
thank you.
Yeah.
I can't have my total transformation team member not able to unmute.
No, that was really because I do think you're I'm sorry, I'm just getting back from the gym. I'm a little bit of a mess. But
Yay! Action,
yes.
action, traction, satisfaction. We love it.
That's my Saturday routine, but I love this. This is a nice marriage to that because you bring up so many relevant reminders for all of us. But I think the oats topic is one that is really interesting because it's one of those things where you're right. So many see it as a health food, and really. Um, sort of support all of that, and it's a big part of a routine for many. And yet, and we've got like the oat milk and the oat yogurt and the oat, and yet I think your point is well taken that like many foods, there can be some real challenges for people that we're not necessarily fully appreciating. And for me, like you, I've had some similar digestive issues with it that I've only sadly I didn't want to realize, but it's true. Bloating, gas, it's a reality, and so you hate to cut it out, but when you actually do you put it under the microscope and you realize, okay, it really is a thing. So you just have to let it go. It's hard.
From the clutches
Yes.
of my fingers had to be pried off of the
Yes.
And I grew up with oats, and I grew up with the 5 minute, the full, you got to cook them or the, steel cut. I use those. I just felt so good getting my Irish steel cut oats and, snubbing the oat dust in the instant oats. And, it's like, that stuff is bad, but the real thing, but no.
Yeah.
I had to repent for my oat snobbery.
You know what I would love, Dr. Lisa, is I would love, and this might be in your video, so maybe the video will address this, but talking about kind of some of the carbs in terms of grains that are felt to be truly more healthful and easier on our digestion, and versus the ones that are more controversial and challenge, because I think sometimes we're seeking that information and there's a lot of controversy or lack of clarity.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually do. I have a genetic chart of the wheat grasses, and the oats and the wheats are over here, and the rice is oat gluten. I mean, the wheat, rye, barley, oats, all of those are over on one side of the whole wheatgrass family, and the rice and others are on the whole other side of the family. So
Okay, good. I like that.
I'll
Thank you.
I'll dig it up and like I said, I'll refresh myself and share it.
That'd be lovely. Thank you for that. I appreciate
Absolutely.
it.
Absolutely. All righty, everybody. Well, it's 5 minutes to the hour, and you guys might have something else at noon. I have something at 1, so I have a little time to relax and refresh. But let's get out of here so we can get on with the day, and I'll see you next week. I love it. Mwah. Love you all.
Thank you.
Love you.
Bye.